Hi, my name is Jonathan Morrow, and I'm the Director of Cultural Engagement for Impact 360 Institute, and we get to work with this generation, equipping them in biblical worldview and leadership, and we are passionate about seeing them follow Jesus for a lifetime, but we also wanted to see a kind of a snapshot and a lens of this generation, Gen Z. What do they think about the big questions of life? What are the big shaping influences in their life? How do they view reality? What are their assumptions? And so we've been working with the Barna Group for the last year on a study on Gen Z, and we're so excited to kind of get a picture of how they view reality. And so I'm so excited to be here with David Kinnaman, who's the president of the Barna Group. And you've been working with generations, American generations, studying them for the last 20 years, and all these different angles and lenses. So really appreciate working with you and your team.
Thanks, same here.
It's been fabulous. And so, today we're talking a little bit about technology and how that's kind of shaping them. I mean, it's kind of obvious. That's one of the obvious characteristics people talk a lot about Gen Z, is how technology is shaping them. But maybe what are some unique ways that technology has shaped this generation?
Well, clearly, this is the first generation that's been raised with the internet, and that's one of the things that is the defining characteristic of Generation Z. Their parents had technology when they were kids. They were actually raised with screens. They never took a road trip without a screen. I don't think as a dad I would want to take a road trip without a screen.
Yeah,
but this is the first generation that has been raised with screens as part of their sort of daily experience. So that's shaped a lot about them. I mean, we know that a majority of teens have a smartphone. And they tell us from the research that they actually go to bed with their smartphones. They wake up to it and go to bed with their smartphones in their rooms. And so this is changing all the rules in terms of how they interact with institutions and content and knowledge, and even a lot of the relational aspects of their lives. They're sort of the first sort of screenagers, and that's one of the ways that we've been spending a lot of time studying them. We find there's a lot of research now that's sort of emerging, still a whole body of research about the effect of the screen age on teenagers, but some of the early indications is that they have greater anxiety, more depression, they're lonelier, they're more likely to be bullied online. And so the report that we worked on with you guys really takes an overview of what happens with this generation, how does technology seem to influence the spiritual lives, and sort of their social views when it comes to their perceptions of reality.
And another thing, I get to work with a lot of teenagers, and I know, at Impact 360 Institute, we talk about how parents are still a very major shaping influence into young people's lives, as they should be, especially in this area of technology. Though it's kind of interesting because, they're watching mom and dad, but they don't put down the phone sometimes, right. Or they've always got it with them, or do one more email or more work or things like that, and maybe even teenagers can get jealous almost of that attention. But what are some kind of things you're seeing around those dynamics of parents and then their students?
Well, I think this is the first generation. Millennials were raised with screens in some ways, but their parents didn't have them as often as today's Gen Z does. So it's like it's not just that this next generation is part of the screen age. It's like everyone is part of the screen age. Even the grandparents and the great-grandparents are using their screens, as well as the parents and the students. So I think that's one of the big shifts, is everyone is living in this immersive screen reality. Some more than others based on individual preferences, but everyone is doing it. Your parents are doing it. You're looking at recipes in the kitchen. You're watching streamed television. It's just always on. So that's a big part of it. And then you think about the implications of that for people in ministry, and a lot of what this new report is designed to do is to tease out and begin to look at this next generation in a new way. And you think about Google as the primary sex educator of today's generation. That's what we're learning, is this notion of the access that students have to these kinds of private questions that in the past they would have gone to their parents, or they would have found out from friends, or they would have had a conversation. But now it's like the privacy of their phone allows them to do that. We're starting to hear reports of young people using YouTube as their counselor. Like, how can I diagnose whether I'm dealing with depression, clinical depression? And these are very human questions that people are wrestling with, and especially young people. But they're going to their phones to basically sort out like meaning and anxiety and a life well lived and all these other questions that usually you would go to a relational network to find. And that's, I think, what's new and different about the experiences of Generation Z.
Yeah, and every cultural moment has both opportunities and challenges. We've talked about a lot of the challenges, some of the scary things around technology. But what are some of the positives around the being digital natives and technology and all of those opportunities for this generation.
Well, I think it's an important point, and it's easy for us, I think, to like land on some of those things that concern us, especially as parents, right? You know, because we have teenagers ourselves, and recognizing that it's a difficult reality is we get it. It is. But there's incredible opportunities. I mean, they're more connected, they're more informed. I mean, my kids are asking great questions, things I didn't think about that at your age. And so it invites us into this great opportunity of having these deeper conversations with our kids, of providing them with a deeper network, a more lived reality of what faith means for us. And so when you think about even calling these young people into lives of ministry and mission, you know, I think we get a chance to expose them to something of a bigger world, of what God's doing in the world. And so screens become a great ally for us as Christians, but we have to learn how to live faithfully with that. And I think that's, again, the great question that Generation Z is posing to us as Christians. How can we live faithfully in the screen age?
Absolutely, and we have an opportunity to learn from them because they see the world in ways that we don't see. We've been habituated to see it in a certain way, right, with certain blind spots, and they kind of can help kind of coach and mentor us in some ways and some things to see, which is really exciting. Yeah. So, I mean, there's tons of stuff in the study. I'm so excited about it. You know, so we want you to be there for this in January. It's on January 23rd. If you're in the Atlanta area, we'd love for you to join us live at the event there in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to unpack Gen Z. David will be there, myself, the other team at Barna. It's going to be a great opportunity to kind of unpack this research and kind of share more about how we can encourage and equip and empathize with this generation and how to help set them up for success in the future. And we'll be releasing the report, so we really hope you'll join us in January. Join us for the live webcast. It's for free on January 23rd, and you can sign up for all of that at whoisgenz.com.